Welcome back to my workshop. Well, actually, again, we're back in the garden, part of my continuing endless garden makeover. As I mentioned the other day in the other video, I've just reseeded some of my grass here. And I thought I'd show you this, which is what I used. Now, this is a grass seeder from Wickes. I wasn't going to do a video, but I'm so impressed with it that I thought I would. So let's get in the workshop. I'll show you this quickly. I'll show you what it does, how it does it, and then we'll do a quick demo. But because I've already done it, it'll just be a demo. Right, let's get to the workshop. Right, so what is this thing? Now, basically, I just wanted to reseed the lawn. So the idea is you put grass seed in here, and you walk up and down the lawn, turn the handle, and it distributes grass seed all over your garden. You might be thinking, well, why don't you just put it in your hand and throw it on the garden, which has been good enough for thousands of years. Because I'm a bit hand-fisted, I'd then have a handful of seed and I'd throw it and it'd all end up in one clump. Okay, this will distribute it more evenly, because if you overseed in one particular lump, then none of it's going to grow. So that's the basic idea. This was only £10. Okay, it's now the middle of 2025. This was £10, so I thought, well, why not? I've only got a small garden, but this should help. If you've got a bigger garden, I'd highly recommend getting one of these, because trying to get it evenly spread in a big garden would be a bit of a challenge. Right, so let's have a close look at this £10 grass seed spreader from Wickes. Right, so this is a Wickes handheld spreader for applying fertilizer, seed and ice melt ergonomic handle. Okay, that's what it is. Now, straight off, the ergonomic handle is this bit here. So you hold it here and it actually rests here. So it's easier to keep it horizontal. Okay, so when you're using it, you've got to keep it horizontal. If you didn't have this bit here, it'd be a bit front heavy. Okay, but this helps support your wrist, which makes life a lot easier. The main parts of it are here, which obviously we have the hopper. And in the bottom there, we've got a little agitator. Turn that round. Yeah, and all that does, it keeps the grass seed moving around. And here we've got a trigger. Okay, and all that does, it opens up this little hatch inside. Okay, on the other side, we've got a control knob here, 1 to 5. Okay, and all that does is 5. When you pull the trigger, the little hatch opens all the way. Okay, when you put it on 1, okay, it only opens a little teeny tiny bit. Okay, so all of this dial does here is regulate how far open the little hatch goes. Okay, and that obviously determines how much seed comes out. To turn it, it's just got this little handle on the side here. You literally just rotate that. Let's get my hand out of the way. You just rotate that, and all that does, it turns this propeller here, okay, or impeller, whatever you want to call it. And what that does, the seed drops through here, hits the impeller, spins around, and flies it out. Now, you can use this for grass seed, but you can also use it for fertilizer and ice melt. Okay, now it recommends settings 1 and 2 for grass seed. Okay, it's all details on here. Settings 3 and 4 for fertilizer, because I think the granules are a little bit bigger. And then 4 and 5 for ice melt. So that's if you're salting your driveway or your pathway, you can use this and it distributes that evenly as well. So it's got multiple uses. Right, let me give you a little demonstration of how this actually works. Okay, I'll demonstrate it using a bit of a strange method, but just to give you an idea of how it works. Right, just to give you an idea of how it works, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on number 5. Okay, so that opens up fully, and that should be big enough to put in one of these. Okay, it's just a ball bearing. Okay, and all I'm going to do is drop that in the top here. Okay, and then turn the handle. All right, nothing happens. Okay, because the hatch is still shut. As soon as I pull the trigger, okay, the ball bearing drops out of the hatch, spin, 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 open, and then it's thrown out by the impeller. Okay, so let's put a few more in there. Obviously this is not what it's designed for, but this is just an interesting demonstration. So spin, 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 spin. Oh, they're going everywhere. You get the idea? Now obviously I don't recommend firing ball bearings out with this thing because you will break it very soon. But this is used for grass seed. So we've got some grass seed here. So what I do is I'll fill the hopper up in here because you don't want to fill your grass seed up on the lawn, because if you do spill any, you'll end up with the same scenario where you end up with clumps of grass seed and they just won't grow. So what we've got to do is put some of this in the hopper and then go out to the garden and start seeding. Now obviously when you're filling up with your grass seed, you've got to know how much of the seed you're going to use and how big your garden is. Okay, on the front of most boxes, this is only a cheap box. This is just for demonstration so I can show you guys. Okay, this one says this whole box sows up to 40 square meters. Okay, I think it normally works out, it's probably just under a handful per square meter. Okay, but do your own research on that. All I'm doing in this video is showing you how this thing works. Okay, so what we do is we get the grass seed out of here. Oh look, you see this one's even got a shaker on it. So you don't need one of those, you just use this. But I'll use that. Right, so obviously I'm going to do the whole of my garden here, which is not very big at all. Now this spreader spreads about 3 meters in width. Okay, so it's probably about that wide. Okay, so I'm probably going to have to go up and down 1, 2, maybe 3 times. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go up that way, then up that way, then up that way. Okay, maybe with a little bit of an overlap between each one so you don't end up with tram lines up your grass. Okay, what you've got to do is you've got to regulate how fast you walk. Okay, don't just go running up and down the garden because you'll end up with not much coverage at all. Okay, so a slow walking pace is generally best. Okay, I'll have it set on 1 or 2. Just walk along, turning it and then pull the handle. Okay, and that should give you relatively even coverage. So obviously what you've got to do is be careful you don't actually spread the grass seed onto the flower beds. You just want it on the grass. Okay, always a good idea to start turning first, then pull the trigger. Okay, and then walk at a slow, steady pace. So turn, 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 and then, okay, and you can see it's throwing the grass seed out all over the place. You may not be able to see that from there. Okay, if you look, I'm keeping this horizontal, resting on my arm here, and that's the best way to do it. Once you've actually finished doing your seeding, I'd give this a good wipe out. I've got the benefit, I've got an airline, so I can give it a good blowout. So it's ready for next time. Well, I think that's about it. I can't do any more because I'll end up overseeding my garden. That was just basically to show you how this thing works. For £10, it's probably worth it. I think it's evenly distributed around the garden. So that was just a quick look at this, which is the Wickes seed sower. All right, okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope my grass grows and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Right, so obviously what you've got to be doing is